We live in a world where speaking up, being loud, and making your voice heard are seen as signs of power, intelligence, and success. But have you ever wondered, why do those who know the most, who have the deepest insights, and who see the world in ways we can't even imagine, often choose not to speak? Imagine a room filled with people arguing, debating, and trying to outdo one another to prove their point. Yet in one corner of the room, there is someone quietly sitting, observing and listening without uttering a single word. Who is truly the wisest person in that room? Is it the one speaking the loudest? Or is it the one who understands that not every thought needs to be expressed, not every argument needs to be engaged in or won at all costs? Schopenhauer, one of the greatest philosophers in history, believed that true wisdom often lies in silence. He argued that silence is not a sign of weakness, but a symbol of strength, self-control, and above all, intelligence. But why is that? Is there a hidden secret within silence that could help us change the way we view the world and ourselves? In today's video, let's delve into Schopenhauer's philosophy and uncover why he considered silence to be a profound strategy, not only to navigate the chaos of the world around us, but also to find peace within ourselves. And perhaps by the end, you might discover the answer to a thought-provoking question. Could silence be the greatest power you possess? If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay updated with our latest videos on spiritual topics, inner awakening, and philosophical insights. Schopenhauer believed that silence is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of strength. For him, the wisest individuals stay silent not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand the futility of saying it. They recognize that words, while powerful, often fail to convey true understanding and can easily be misunderstood or misused. Most people, Schopenhauer observed, don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. Reflect on this for a moment. How many conversations have you been in where the other person wasn't truly paying attention, but was merely waiting for their turn to speak? How many arguments have you had where, no matter how logical or reasonable your points were, they seemed to fall on deaf ears? It's frustrating, isn't it? This is where Schopenhauer's wisdom begins to shine. Words are undeniably powerful tools, capable of inspiring, educating, or comforting. But they are also limited. They can be twisted, ignored, or diminished by those who aren't ready to hear them. Schopenhauer recognized this inherent limitation and concluded that silence often speaks louder than words. It allows you to engage with the world without being bound by the imperfections of verbal communication. But silence, according to Schopenhauer, is not just the absence of sound or speech. It's an active practice, one of listening, observing, and truly understanding. The wisest among us don't stay silent because they are passive or indifferent. On the contrary, they are deeply engaged. They listen to the subtext of conversations, observe the dynamics of situations, and analyze patterns and connections that most of us overlook because we're too busy talking. Silence becomes, in this sense, a profound form of action. It creates the space needed to absorb and process information on a deeper level. By choosing to remain silent, you allow yourself the opportunity to see the world more clearly and understand it more fully. It's not about retreating. It's about advancing in a way that most people cannot fathom. Now, let's turn the focus inward. How often do you really listen? Not just to others, but to yourself and the world around you. How often do you take a step back from the relentless noise of life to simply observe? If your answer is not often, you're not alone. Modern life is fast-paced and noisy, leaving little room for reflection. But perhaps it's time to rethink the way you approach communication and connection. Perhaps it's time to adopt Schopenhauer's strategy. Schopenhauer also saw silence as a form of protection. When we speak, we expose ourselves. We reveal our thoughts, intentions, and even our vulnerabilities. In a world that is often quick to judge, criticize, or exploit, silence can serve as a shield. It allows us to maintain control over what others know about us, keeping us guarded against unnecessary scrutiny or manipulation. This form of power is not about domination, but about autonomy. The less you say, the less others can use your words against you. By revealing less, you maintain an air of unpredictability. which can be a significant advantage in both personal and professional interactions. Beyond protecting us from others, silence also shields us from ourselves. How many times have you said something in anger or frustration that you later regretted? How many times have your emotions led you to speak impulsively, only to realize later that silence would have been the wiser choice? Schopenhauer understood the irreversibility of spoken words. Once uttered, they cannot be retracted. Silence, however, is a deliberate choice, a way to exercise self-control and prevent your emotions from dictating your actions. By choosing silence, you create a pause, a moment of reflection that allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. As we conclude this exploration of Schopenhauer's initial insights into silence, let's pause to imagine what your life could look like if you embraced this philosophy. What if you spoke less and listened more? What if you chose silence over noise, observation over reaction, and wisdom over impulsiveness? How might the way you perceive the world change? How might your understanding of yourself deepen? Schopenhauer's philosophy challenges us to see silence not as a void, but as a presence that enables deeper engagement, greater clarity, and a stronger sense of self. It's a tool for self-discovery, a shield against external pressures, and a means to cultivate wisdom in a chaotic world. So I leave you with this. What would happen if you embraced the power of silence in your life? Would you feel more in control? Would you find yourself more attuned to the world and to your inner voice? These are questions worth pondering. Silence, after all, is not merely the absence of words. It's a gateway to understanding, a pathway to strength, and a testament to the power of restraint. Take a moment to reflect, and when you're ready, let's continue to explore how silence shapes not only the self, but also the world around us. Why does silence hold such profound power? Why did Schopenhauer and countless other great thinkers emphasize its importance? To truly understand, we must delve deeper. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a presence, a palpable force in its own right. It is a space, a void, a pause that allows for something greater to emerge. Imagine this. A wise person's silence isn't empty. It is weighty, like gravity. It draws people in, influences perceptions, and intriguingly shapes the world around them. Consider this paradox. Silence is often the loudest voice in the room. Why is that? Because silence invites reflection. Words, when spoken, saturate the air, leaving little room for interpretation. But silence? Silence creates an opening, a blank canvas for others to project their thoughts, fears, and assumptions. This is why moments of silence often feel charged, even uncomfortable. Silence forces us to confront something we instinctively avoid: ourselves. Schopenhauer understood this dynamic. He recognized that in choosing silence, one gains not just control over oneself, but influence over the situation. Think back to a heated argument you've witnessed or experienced. When someone responded with silence instead of words, didn't that silence feel heavier, more impactful than anything they could have said? Didn't it compel you to question your own words, your actions? That is the power of silence. It redirects the focus inward. It compels reflection, thought, and self-questioning. In a world where everyone competes to be heard, the person who embraces silence stands out. Yet silence is more than just a strategy for engaging with others. It is also a tool for self-discovery. Schopenhauer believed that the world is inherently chaotic and irrational, and to navigate it, we need clarity, focus, and inner peace. Silence is the gateway to all three. In moments of quiet, we can hear the whispers of our own thoughts, the murmur of intuition, and the resonance of our deeper truths, elements often drowned out by the relentless noise of daily life. Silence is a mirror. It strips away distractions, revealing the essence of who we are beneath the layers of external influences. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly sat in silence? No phone, no TV, no music, no podcasts, just you, the stillness, and the moment. For most of us, it's been far too long. And it's no wonder why. We live in a world that fears silence, a society that equates stillness with stagnation and quiet with weakness. But Schopenhauer knew better. He recognized that true strength lies in silence. It is within silence that we uncover the essence of ourselves. However, let's not romanticize it. Silence is not easy. It is not passive. Choosing silence requires effort, discipline, and courage. It is far simpler to speak than to remain silent, easier to react than to reflect. Yet the wisest among us choose the harder path. They embrace silence because they understand its profound value. Silence is not merely the absence of noise, it is the presence of wisdom. Now, consider what this could mean for your life. Imagine living without the constant need to react to the chaos around you. Picture a life where silence is not restless but peaceful, where you can listen not only to the world but also to yourself. What might you discover about what you truly want, need, and believe? Such a life isn't just appealing, it's liberating. Silence offers freedom. Freedom from the compulsions of reaction, from the ceaseless demands of noise, and from the barriers to understanding oneself. Yet therein lies the challenge. Silence is uncomfortable. It forces us to face the truths we'd rather avoid: fears, doubts, insecurities, those shadowy facets of ourselves that bubble up in the quiet. This discomfort is why so many of us fill our days with noise and distraction. But Schopenhauer believed that true wisdom is born in the discomfort, in sitting with the silence, learning from it, and ultimately growing because of it. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what are you avoiding in the silence? What truths lie hidden beneath the noise? And more importantly, what might you gain if you stopped running from it and started listening? The answers may not come easily, but they will come in the stillness. And within that stillness lies the possibility of understanding, growth, and an unshakable sense of self. Let's delve deeper into this idea. What if silence isn't just a tool for self-control or achieving inner clarity, but also a subtle and profound strategy for influence? What if its power transcends mere absence of noise, making it more impactful than words could ever hope to be? Schopenhauer's philosophy offers a profound perspective. Silence is not just the lack of sound. It is an intentional act, a calculated move that holds the potential to redefine relationships, guide conversations, and even shift the trajectory of events in unexpected ways. To truly grasp this, consider the dynamics of every interaction. At its core, each exchange involves a balance of power. When we speak, we inevitably give away pieces of ourselves, our thoughts, our intentions, our vulnerabilities. In that act of expression, we relinquish a measure of control. Spoken words, once released into the world, can be twisted, misinterpreted, or even weaponized against us. Silence, by contrast, remains impervious to manipulation. It is a fortress that protects its holder. Choosing not to speak is a deliberate act of autonomy. It denies others the power to define you, to anchor you with their interpretations, or to exploit your words. Schopenhauer understood this deeply, as do those among us who wield wisdom with quiet precision. Sometimes the most potent move is not to speak at all. But the power of silence extends beyond self-preservation. It actively transforms the dynamics of communication. Think back to a conversation where someone paused before responding. Didn't that pause feel laden with weight? Didn't it make you wonder what they were thinking? This is the power of silence as a form of restraint. When you create a space by withholding words, you compel others to fill that void. They reveal more of their thoughts, reconsider their assumptions, and even expose vulnerabilities. Silence, in this way, serves as a mirror, reflecting others' inner landscapes back to them. It's not just the absence of your voice, it's the amplification of their own. Schopenhauer viewed this ability to manipulate the dynamics of silence as a defining characteristic of wisdom. The wise understand that influence is not about overwhelming others with an avalanche of words, but about guiding them with a strong, intentional presence. Silence, when wielded deliberately, becomes a powerful tool of persuasion. It's not about withholding speech to be mysterious or manipulative. It's about crafting moments of introspection for others. Silence invites them to arrive at their own conclusions, rather than forcing your perspective upon them. Now, pause and ask yourself, how often do you speak simply to fill the silence? How frequently do you find yourself explaining, justifying, or defending? And what if, instead of succumbing to that urge, you embraced silence as a strategy, trusting it to do the heavy lifting for you? What if you allowed silence to work its magic, creating a fertile ground for deeper understanding and connection? It's important to clarify that Schopenhauer's view of silence isn't about passivity or disengagement. It's about deliberate intention. Silence, he argued, possesses an authority all its own, an authority that doesn't need to announce itself with loud proclamations. But this doesn't mean silence is always the answer. Schopenhauer understood that there are moments when speaking is an act of courage, when silence could be mistaken for complicity in the face of injustice. The wisdom lies in discernment, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. This ability to act with intention, rather than out of impulse or habit, is what distinguishes the wise from the rest. Practically speaking, embracing silence means redefining your relationship with it. It means resisting the impulse to react instantly, to fill every pause, or to defend yourself against criticism. It means tuning in, not only to the words of others, but to the broader moment itself. What is the silence revealing? What truths lie beneath the surface? What emotions or intentions are conveyed in the gaps between words? When we truly embrace silence, it transforms into a deeper form of listening. It allows us to perceive the subtext, the emotions, and the truths that often go unspoken. Now picture this, a life where your words hold significant weight. Not because you speak frequently, but because you speak sparingly. Imagine your silence being more than just an absence. It becomes a presence that influences and shapes the environment around you. In such a life, you are not at the mercy of every passing impulse to respond or react. Instead, you are guided by the wisdom of restraint. What kind of power would that life grant you? What kind of inner peace would it foster? But here's the reality. Silence is not always comfortable. It can force us and others to confront things we might prefer to avoid. In the quiet, fears, doubts, and insecurities can rise to the surface. This discomfort is precisely why many of us instinctively fill the silence with noise, whether it's through words, distractions, or external stimuli. Yet Schopenhauer believed that the path to true wisdom and self-mastery requires facing this discomfort. Silence challenges us to grow, to deepen our understanding, and to connect with our innermost selves. Let's take this idea a step further. How can silence be transformed into a tool not just for personal clarity, but for meaningful influence? How can it foster deeper connections and create moments of profound understanding? The key lies in intention. Silence is most powerful when it is purposeful. When used thoughtfully, it signals respect for the weight of the moment and for the thoughts of others. It communicates that you are not reacting out of impulsivity, but are instead creating space for genuine reflection and meaningful dialogue. This brings us to a profound question. How can you begin to use silence in a way that enriches your interactions and enhances your life? Start by embracing the pauses. Resist the need to fill every quiet moment. Allow yourself and others the time to process, to think, and to feel. Recognize that silence is not an absence, but an invitation. It's an opportunity to connect on a deeper level, to truly understand yourself and others. Imagine a future where you harness the power of silence not as a retreat, but as a conscious strategy. A life where you are unhurried, deliberate, and centered. A life where your silence carries weight because it reflects wisdom, confidence, and self-control. This is not just about speaking less, it's about speaking better. It's about ensuring that when you do choose to speak, your words carry the gravity of thought and intention. In such a life, silence ceases to be an absence of noise and transforms into a source of strength. As we close, reflect on this. How can silence become your ally? What can it teach you about patience, presence, and understanding? And how can it help you shape a life that is both impactful and profoundly peaceful? Silence is more than just a tool. It's a path to mastery over yourself, your relationships, and the world around you. The question now is, are you ready to embrace it? Here we are, arriving at the essence of what Schopenhauer's strategy teaches us. If silence serves as a shield, a tool of influence, and a gateway to self-awareness, then what is its ultimate purpose? What does silence lead us to discover, and how does it shape the fabric of our lives? To unravel this, we must step back from the relentless noise of daily life and consider the broader picture. What does silence leave behind in its wake? What does it create that words cannot? And how can this understanding transform the way we choose to live? Schopenhauer believed that at its core, the world is driven by what he called the will, a blind, insatiable force that compels all living beings to act, to desire, to strive. Most of us are captives to this will, endlessly speaking, doing, and pursuing without respite. Yet silence offers something revolutionary, an opportunity to step off this treadmill of relentless activity. Choosing silence is choosing to pause, to resist the pull of chaos. It is a deliberate act of reclaiming stillness in a world that never stops moving. And within that stillness lies something precious: clarity and freedom. Think about the most profound moments of your life. Were they defined by words, or were they framed by silence? The quiet of a sunrise, its gentle hues painting the sky. The stillness of sitting beside someone you love, no words exchanged yet everything understood. The pause before making a decision that would change the course of your life. These moments resonate not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. Silence creates a void, a space where meaning can take shape, where the depth of existence can be felt, and where we can connect with something far greater than ourselves. Yet silence offers something even more profound. It endures. Unlike words, which are spoken, heard, and often forgotten, silence lingers. It imprints itself on the minds of those who experience it. It invites interpretation, sparks reflection, and fosters growth. This is why the wisest among us value silence so highly. They understand that what is left unsaid often carries more weight than what is spoken. They know that silence isn't the absence of communication, but a form of it, one that transcends time, space, and the limitations of language. Consider this. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Is it one filled with the noise of countless words that dissipate the moment they are uttered? Or is it a legacy of presence, depth, and enduring meaning? Schopenhauer's insight reveals that silence, when wielded with intention, becomes timeless. It creates an impression that words alone cannot. It shapes not only the present moment, but also the ripples that extend into the future. This understanding calls for a shift in how we approach our interactions and decisions. It invites us to embrace the power of the pause. Before speaking, we can ask ourselves, is this necessary? Will it bring value, or is it simply noise? Before acting, we can question, is this reaction born of impulse, or is it guided by wisdom? Silence creates the space for better choices, choices imbued with intention and purpose. It allows us to rise above the noise and live with clarity and focus. When we pause to reflect, we see that Schopenhauer's strategy isn't about silence for its own sake. It's about recognizing silence as a powerful tool, a protective shield, a reflective mirror, and ultimately, a legacy. In a world consumed by the urge to speak and be heard, true strength lies in the ability to listen, to observe, and to reflect. The wisest individuals embrace silence because they understand that it is not an emptiness, but a fullness. A fertile space where meaning is born, where truths come to light, and where transformation begins. Silence, then, becomes more than just a break in conversation. It becomes a discipline, a way of being that demands effort, presence, and intentionality. It asks us to resist the instinctive pull to fill every void with noise, to offer an immediate response, or to drown out discomfort with chatter. Instead, silence invites us to lean into the stillness, to find the courage to face the truths it reveals, and to trust in the quiet power it holds. Imagine the possibilities this perspective unlocks. A life where your words are measured and meaningful, not because you speak less often, but because you speak with greater purpose. A life where silence is not a void, but a presence, a force that influences, inspires, and shapes the world around you. In such a life, you are not driven by the need to react to every external stimulus. Instead, you are guided by the wisdom to discern, to hold back, and to let silence do its work. Yet silence is not always comfortable. It challenges us to confront what lies beneath the surface, our fears, doubts, and insecurities. In the absence of noise, these truths often come rushing forward. But this discomfort is precisely why silence is so transformative. It compels us to grow, to face our inner selves, and to develop a deeper understanding of who we are and what truly matters. As we ponder these ideas, let us ask ourselves, how can we use silence as a force for good in our lives? How can it help us navigate relationships, make wiser decisions, and leave a lasting impact on the world? The answer lies in intention. Silence, when used thoughtfully, becomes more than just an absence of sound. It becomes a deliberate act of creation, a canvas on which meaning is painted, and a tool for connection and understanding. Now, picture a future shaped by this understanding. A future where you are unhurried, deliberate, and composed. Where your silence speaks volumes and your words are imbued with depth and insight. In this future, silence is not merely a retreat, but a source of strength. A quiet power that influences not through noise, but through presence and purpose. Such a life is not bound by the limitations of fleeting words, but enriched by the enduring weight of thoughtful silence. So, as we close, consider this. How will you integrate silence into your life? Will it be a refuge, a tool, a weapon, or a means of understanding? Or will it be your legacy? A presence that continues to shape the world long after your words have faded into memory. The choice is yours to make. What do you think about the perspective of philosopher Schopenhauer? Do you see silence as a refuge, a reflection of wisdom, a way to understand yourself and others, or perhaps as your echo, shaping the world long after your words have faded? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, please like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. Or, if you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.